Does anybody have like an antiperspirant that they prefer?
So one of the ones that I have a few patients use is called Certain Dry. So it's an over-the-counter antiperspirant, and you roll it on, but you would put it on at the end of the day, and it's something that you apply daily. And it works really well just to help because perspiration management can be a big issue, especially within the liner. So there's a lot of sweating that when you first start wearing the liner, your limb's now acclimating to a different environment. And so giving your body some time that there might be a little bit more perspiration initially, but it's kind of like if you went without wearing shoes for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden you start wearing shoes, right? Your feet are gonna be hot, they're gonna be sweaty, that they're kind of in this enclosed environment that it's not used to being in. So that's definitely one to continue to talk to your prosthetist about also of there's lots of options there for managing managing perspiration. Hygiene is huge. So making sure that the liners stay clean, that your skin stays clean, and that we're managing the perspiration and kind of all of the bacteria that can come with that.
I've used Vital Fit is what I use now. They have a cleaner for your liner and for your residual limb. And they also have a moisturizer that works really well.
And you said it's called Vital Fit?
It's called Vital Fit, yes.
Okay.
And when I first started wearing my liner and my prosthetic, because I live in Florida, I had a lot of trouble with the heat. So I did use the antiperspirant that they just recommended. And that works very well too. And like they said, put it on either the night before or earlier in the morning before you're going to put your liner on. And I also had some issues with like a heat rash, and the Vital Fit, I think, is what has helped that. And they have the same thing. They have a day moisturizer and they have a night moisturizer. And since I've been using that, I haven't had any trouble with the heat rash at all.
Oh, awesome.
Nice. Thanks for the recommendation, Patty.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
That's one that I haven't had.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
I will say there's also other things to help out with perspiration, and it's figuring out what works for you. And so some people have great success with a Certain Dry or some sort of other like topical antiperspirant. There's also an option called a sheath, which goes like under your liner, and it helps with moisture wicking. They're antimicrobial. They have silver kind of integrated into them, so that it helps manage some of that. And there's other options out there, so it's continuing to work with your prosthetist, talk to them, hey, this worked, this didn't, I tried this, it helped for a little bit, but then I got a heat rash, and just continuing to figure out what solution works best for you. I will say that a lot of the perspiration management can come down to sometimes you have to take the liner off, dry everything off, and then reapply the liner. That on those really hot, humid days, that's really the best way to get around it. That there's only so much that can be done within the liner, and then sometimes it's okay, we got to take this off and clean it. And especially with high activity levels, that I know we have a couple of patients that do triathlons and go biking, and even Scott here, that he's like, yeah, sometimes it's you take the liner off and you're dumping out a little bit of sweat just because it builds up. So when that happens, especially, I know you mentioned that you're very active. So that water, when you get that perspiration in the liner, of making sure that that's controlled, because the more you have that, that's going to create a lot of friction and a lot of rubbing and can really irritate the skin. So making sure that that is managed well will help you kind of stay up and moving.